Welcome to a deep dive. That's a little different. Yeah, forget spreadsheets and data. We're exploring RainerRuns.
RainerRuns.
Yeah, it's a book where the author, Rainer Gimbel, I think it is.
Okay.
He tackles implementing an enterprise social network.
An ESN?
An ESN, yeah, exactly, for his company,
Okay.
while also running 5 kilometers every single day for a year.
Oh, wow. That's quite the challenge.
Yeah, it's an interesting juxtaposition.
So it's interesting how he intertwines these two journeys. Look, you don't often see personal and professional growth so intimately connected.
Exactly. And Rainer was working at Evonik.
Evonik.
Yeah, large chemical company, and documented his whole ESN experience in a blog.
Okay.
Wins, losses, like the whole thing.
Right.
But what makes RainerRuns so unique is that each post also details his daily run,
Ah, interesting.
adding a whole other layer of insight.
Yeah. So for you, this deep dive is about more than just technology, right? It's about uncovering that human element of change.
Right.
Seeing how individual passion can ripple outwards and transform an entire organization. I mean, we'll get into the nitty-gritty of ESNs, of course.
Of course.
But also explore those broader themes of resilience and commitment that Rainer's story embodies.
Yeah, and right from the start,
Okay.
Rainer hit a classic roadblock, convincing top management that an ESN was worth the investment.
Right?
He had the data showing how it could boost engagement and knowledge sharing, but some managers just weren't convinced.
I mean, that resistance to change is something I've encountered frequently in my work.
Yeah.
It's almost like an organizational reflex, right? Clinging to familiar ways even when there's evidence pointing towards something better. What's interesting is how Rainer describes top management as practically invisible on the platform.
Invisible.
Yeah, despite tons of employees actively using it. One manager even joked that he wished he'd climbed the corporate ladder faster so he could have opposed the ESN from the start.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
It's a great example of how entrenched habits can hinder progress, even when everyone supposedly agrees on the need for innovation. But Rainer didn't give up. He got creative.
Oh, how so?
Instead of bombarding management with stats, he showcased the ESN's value through real stories. Like how one colleague, Isabel, praised the platform for making knowledge sharing and connecting with coworkers so much easier.
Okay, so that approach is crucial, right? Showing, not just telling.
Right.
And in my experience, when people see tangible benefits, especially from their peers, they're much more likely to come on board. Did you find any other examples of Rainer using this kind of show, don't tell approach?
Absolutely. Let's talk about some specific ESN use cases.
Right.
Rainer implemented at Evonik.
Okay.
One that really stands out is ideation jams.
Ideation jams, what are those?
Yeah. Think brainstorming sessions, but turbocharged by the ESN's reach across the entire company.
That's a great example of tapping into collective intelligence, isn't it? Instead of innovation being driven solely from the top down, you're empowering employees at all levels to contribute ideas. It creates a much more dynamic and responsive environment.
Yeah. And these weren't just theoretical exercises either.
Okay.
One of the biggest successes was the development of a carpooling system.
A carpooling
A
system.
direct result of an ideation jam. Think about that. An ESN sparking a real-world solution that makes employees' lives easier and promotes sustainability.
I mean, it speaks to the practical applications of ESNs, right? They're not just about virtual conversations. They can drive tangible benefits for the company and its employees. For you, the listener, this might be a good moment to consider.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a grassroots initiative in your workplace that produced tangible results like that?
It's an interesting question to think about.
Absolutely.
Another use case Rainer championed was CEO blogging.
CEO blogging.
Yeah, it might seem simple, but he argues that having leaders participate on the ESN, not just observe,
Okay.
creates a more open and transparent culture.
I mean, that direct line of communication can be incredibly powerful, especially in large organizations.
Right.
It allows for genuine two-way dialogue between leadership and employees, something email or traditional top-down communication often misses.
And to highlight the importance of leadership buy-in,
Oh,
Rainer shares a contrasting example. 2 business line heads were approached about launching their own ESN communities.
Communities.
Yeah. One dismissed it, preferring an email newsletter instead, while the other jumped in headfirst.
Guess who saw their community thrive?
Exactly. It's like, of course, the one who embraced the platform.
Right.
It's a reminder that actions speak louder than words.
Absolutely.
When leaders actively participate and champion the ESN,
Right.
it sends a powerful message to employees.
I agree. And the results were undeniable.
Yeah, what happened?
The business line head who launched the ESN community saw almost 1,000 blog posts published by hundreds of employees.
Wow.
It became a thriving hub for dialogue and knowledge sharing, a far cry from a static email newsletter.
Yeah. It's a great example of how ESNs can empower employees to share their ideas and connect with leadership on a more personal level.
Absolutely. For you, the listener, this might be a good moment to consider. Do you feel like your organization encourages that kind of open dialogue and knowledge sharing?
You know, it's interesting how Rainer,
Yeah.
he doesn't shy away from the potential pitfalls of ESNs.
Right.
He even dedicated a blog post to outlining ways to sabotage an ESN.
Sabotage.
Yeah.
Like how to kill it.
Yeah. Which I thought was brilliant.
Right. It's like he's anticipating the pushback
Exactly.
and saying, okay, let's address these concerns head on.
Exactly.
So what did he say? What are the ways to...
Well, one of the biggest sabotage tactics he highlights is restricting access.
Go?
Making the ESN exclusive to certain departments or hierarchies.
So keeping it siloed.
Yeah, that completely defeats the purpose.
Right.
The whole point of an ESN is to break down silos and connect people across the organization.
Right.
Restricting access just reinforces those existing barriers.
Exactly. It's like building a bridge
Yeah.
and then putting up a toll booth in the middle.
Exactly. Another
Yeah.
sabotage tactic.
Rainer calls out
Yeah.
is over-regulating the content.
Over-regulating.
Yeah, creating a stifling environment where people are afraid to share anything authentic.
Oh.
You want to encourage responsible use, of course.
Right.
But not to the point where it stifles creativity and open dialogue.
Right.
It reminds me of companies that try to control their social media presence so tightly
Yeah.
that it ends up feeling sterile and inauthentic.
Yes.
What do you think, listener? Have you ever experienced this kind of over-regulation in your workplace? Has it affected your willingness to share ideas or participate in discussions?
It's a good question.
Absolutely.
Now, let's shift gears for a moment and talk about Rainer's running streak.
Oh, yeah, the running.
This guy ran 5 kilometers every single day for a year.
Every single day.
Rain or shine, he was out there pounding the pavement.
Wow.
I'm exhausted just thinking about it.
Well, it's an incredible testament to his discipline and resilience, right?
It is.
But what I find fascinating is how he weaves his running journey into his ESN reflections.
Oh.
He draws these insightful parallels between the physical and mental endurance required for both endeavors.
Yeah, I mean, he talks about pushing through fatigue and injuries during his runs.
Wow.
And those experiences kind of mirror the setbacks and challenges he faced with the ESN implementation.
Absolutely.
It's like he's saying that growth, whether personal or professional,
Yeah.
requires us to embrace discomfort and keep moving forward even when things get tough.
It's a powerful message.
It is.
And it reminds us that resilience is a skill that can be developed, right?
You can learn it.
Yeah, for you, the listener, this might be a good moment to reflect on your own experiences.
Yeah.
Have you ever taken on a challenge
Yeah.
that pushed you to your limits physically or mentally? What did you learn about yourself in the process?
I think everybody's had that experience at least once.
Absolutely.
One of the most profound insights from RainerRuns is Rainer's reflection on the importance of community.
Community, yeah.
He emphasizes that an ESN isn't just a technology platform. It's a space for building connections and fostering a sense of belonging.
He actually uses a quote from Margaret Mead to illustrate this point.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has.
Wow, that's perfect.
It perfectly encapsulates Rainer's belief in the power of individual action and collective effort.
And he doesn't just talk about it.
Right.
He walks the walk.
Oh, how so?
He goes into detail about the role of community managers in fostering a thriving digital community.
Okay.
He describes them as the architects, the gardeners, even the peacemakers of the ESN world.
It's a vital role, often overlooked.
Yeah.
You know, they set the tone,
Right.
encourage participation, and make sure everyone feels welcome and valued.
Right. Think about online communities you've been a part of, the ones that thrive.
Yeah.
Usually have a dedicated person or team cultivating that sense of belonging. He even provides like a playful job description for a corporate community manager.
Oh, okay.
Listing qualities like being a good listener,
Right.
being able to motivate and inspire,
Right.
being a diplomat and a peacemaker.
Right.
It's a lighthearted way of highlighting the essential skills and qualities that make a great community manager.
It's not just about technical expertise.
Right.
It's about human connection and empathy.
Right.
You need someone who can understand people's motivations,
Yeah.
navigate different personalities, and
Yeah.
create an environment where everyone feels comfortable sharing and connecting.
Right.
It makes you wonder, listener, what qualities do you think are essential for building a strong community, whether online or offline?
That's a great question to ask yourself.
Absolutely.
Another key takeaway from RainerRuns is Rainer's emphasis on fostering a culture of knowledge sharing within an organization.
Okay.
He argues that companies should move beyond a need-to-know mentality
Right.
and embrace a need-to-share approach.
So it's a shift in mindset. It's about recognizing that knowledge is a valuable asset
Right.
that should be shared freely to benefit the entire organization.
Right. It's about breaking down silos and promoting collaboration.
Exactly.
He shares a great anecdote about a colleague
Yeah.
who spent hours searching for information for a project,
Okay.
only to discover that the answer was readily available
Oh, no.
from a colleague in the next office.
Wow.
It highlights the inefficiencies of hoarding information.
Absolutely.
When knowledge is freely shared, it saves time, reduces frustration,
Right.
and fosters a more collaborative and supportive work environment.
It's a common problem, though,
Yeah.
especially in large organizations.
Right.
People get so caught up in their own silos
Yeah.
that they forget about the wealth of knowledge and expertise that exists right next door,
Yeah.
so to speak.
Right.
What about you, listener? Have you ever experienced this kind of knowledge hoarding in your workplace? How did it affect your work or your team's productivity?
Yeah, that's a really good question to ask. Rainer argues that an ESN can be a powerful tool for promoting knowledge sharing.
How so?
By creating a centralized platform where employees can easily access information,
Okay.
connect with experts,
Right.
and contribute their own knowledge.
It's about making knowledge accessible and transparent.
Right.
Breaking down the barriers
Yeah.
that often prevent information from flowing freely within an organization.
Right.
It's also about recognizing that everyone has something valuable to contribute, regardless of their title or position.
And that is so important.
Absolutely.
Now, let's talk about one of the most interesting, and I might add, controversial aspects of Rainer's ESN journey.
Oh,
His experiment with reducing email reliance.
reducing email reliance.
Yeah. He actually launched a campaign called #NoEmailInferno,
Hashtag no email inferno.
challenging his team and eventually the entire company
Okay.
to explore alternative communication methods.
That's a bold move.
It is. It is.
And it speaks to his willingness to challenge the status quo and experiment with new ways of working.
Yeah, like email, while still a valuable tool for certain purposes,
Right.
can be incredibly inefficient and overwhelming.
It can.
Right. And it can also lead to information overload
Right.
and make it difficult to track conversations and decisions.
Absolutely.
Rainer identifies specific #NoEmail use cases
Okay.
where alternative communication methods,
Right.
like instant messaging or ESN discussions, are more effective.
Okay.
For instance, he argues that direct one-on-one communication
Okay.
is often best handled through instant messaging,
Right.
which allows for real-time conversation
Right.
and eliminates the back and forth of email chains.
So it's about choosing the right tool for the job
Right.
and recognizing that email isn't always the most efficient or effective solution.
Yeah.
It's also about being mindful of the time and energy we spend on email
Yeah.
and finding ways to streamline our communication and collaboration.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Absolutely.
He also argues that many-to-many communication, like group discussions or collective decision-making,
Okay.
is better suited for ESN communities or dedicated chat groups.
So this allows for greater transparency,
Right.
asynchronous participation,
Right.
and easier access to past discussions.
Exactly.
It's about creating a centralized hub
Right.
for knowledge and dialogue,
Yeah.
moving beyond the fragmented and often chaotic nature of email threads.
Right. It's also about recognizing that not everyone needs to be included in every conversation.
Absolutely.
And that using different channels for different purposes can improve efficiency and reduce information overload.
Exactly.
Rainer even suggests that tasks and project updates can be more effectively managed through project management tools or collaborative platforms
Okay.
rather than relying on email for delegation and tracking.
So it's about leveraging specialized tools
Right.
that are designed for specific purposes,
Right.
rather than trying to force fit email into every communication scenario.
Right. Right.
It's also about recognizing that the way we work is constantly evolving.
Yes.
And that we need to be open to adopting new tools and technologies that can help us be more productive and efficient.
Now, Rainer acknowledges that going completely #no email can be challenging,
It can be.
especially for organizations that are deeply ingrained in an email culture.
Right.
He suggests a gradual transition,
Oh.
using email for notifications or links to content on alternative platforms,
Right.
while encouraging employees to adopt these new communication methods over time.
So it's a pragmatic approach
It is.
that recognizes the need for change management
Right.
and provides a pathway for gradual adoption rather than an abrupt and potentially disruptive shift.
Yeah, that's important.
Absolutely.
It's also about recognizing that change takes time and effort,
It does.
and that it's important to be patient and persistent in encouraging new habits and behaviors.
Absolutely. He even experimented with a no email month.
A whole month.
Yeah.
Wow.
Encouraging a team of colleagues
Okay.
to reduce their email reliance and explore alternative communication methods.
That's amazing.
It's a great way to raise awareness,
Yeah.
challenge assumptions,
Right.
and encourage employees to experience the benefits
Yeah.
of a less email-centric work environment.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's also about creating a sense of community and shared purpose around the change,
Right.
making it more likely that employees will embrace the new ways of working.
I like that. Absolutely.
Rainer shares a quote from Mandy Hale that captures the essence of his #no email philosophy.
Okay, what is it?
Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop trying to force others to.
That's profound.
It is.
It emphasizes the importance of respecting individual choices
Right.
and recognizing that change can't be forced.
Exactly.
It's about creating an environment where employees feel empowered
Right.
to choose the communication methods that work best for them
Right.
and to experiment with new approaches without fear of judgment or reprisal.
Yeah. You want to make people feel comfortable.
Now, one of the most thought-provoking concepts Rainer explores is the idea of working out loud, or well.
Working out loud.
Yeah. He stumbled upon this approach while researching ESN implementation strategies,
Okay.
and it had a profound impact on his thinking.
What's interesting about Wall
Yeah.
is that it's not just about using technology.
Okay.
It's about a mindset shift,
Right.
a way of approaching work
Yeah.
that emphasizes transparency, collaboration,
Right.
and continuous learning.
Okay.
It's about making our work visible,
Okay.
inviting feedback,
Yeah.
and learning from others.
Rainer describes wool as a method of sharing one's work and knowledge publicly, generously, and without expecting anything in return.
That's interesting.
It's about making the process visible,
Okay.
inviting feedback,
Right.
and learning from others.
It challenges the traditional notion of knowledge hoarding
Yeah.
and encourages a culture of open sharing and collaboration.
Right.
It's about recognizing that we learn and grow best when we connect with others
Right.
and share our experiences.
Rainer even had the opportunity to interview John Stepper,
John Stubber.
the originator of the wool concept,
Okay.
and gain further insights into its principles and applications.
It's a testament to Rainer's commitment to continuous learning
It is.
and his willingness to seek out experts and thought leaders in the field.
Right. Right.
It also highlights the power of connecting with others
Yeah.
who are passionate about similar ideas and approaches.
One of the key takeaways from Rainer's wool exploration is the importance of vulnerability.
Vulnerability.
He argues that true learning and growth require us to step outside of our comfort zones, share our work in progress, and be open to feedback,
Right.
even if it's not always positive.
It's about embracing the idea that we don't have all the answers
Yeah.
and that we can learn and grow from the perspectives of others.
Right.
It's also about fostering a culture of psychological safety,
Psychological safety.
where employees feel comfortable sharing their ideas
Yeah.
and asking for help without fear of being judged or ridiculed.
Yeah, I like that.
Absolutely.
Rainer provides some practical tips for implementing wool,
Okay, like what?
like setting specific learning goals,
Okay.
joining or creating a wool circle,
Right.
and using social media or internal platforms to document and share your progress.
So it's about taking concrete steps to make wool a part of your daily work routine.
Yeah.
It's also about being intentional about your learning and growth
Right.
and finding ways to share your knowledge and experiences with others.
Now let's take a moment to reflect on your own work habits.
Okay.
Do you tend to work in isolation, keeping your ideas and progress to yourself? Or are you comfortable sharing your work, seeking feedback, and collaborating with others?
It's a good question.
If you're interested in exploring Wall further,
Okay.
there are many resources available online, including John Stepper's blog and website.
Wow, so check that out.
Yeah, it's great stuff.
It is. It's an invitation to consider how you can incorporate the principles of Wool into your own work practices. How can you make your work more visible, invite feedback, and connect with others to enhance your learning and growth?
Yeah, it's a great way to think about how to improve what you're already doing.
Absolutely.
Now, Rainer's ESN journey also led him to reflect on the nature of leadership in a digital age.
Leadership in a digital age.
Yeah.
Okay.
He argues that traditional top-down leadership styles are becoming increasingly ineffective.
Totally.
In a world where information flows freely and employees are more empowered than ever.
So it's about recognizing the need for a more collaborative and distributed approach to leadership.
Right.
One that empowers employees at all levels to contribute their ideas and take ownership of their work.
He highlights the importance of qualities like transparency, authenticity, and empathy in modern leadership.
It's about building trust and connection,
Yeah.
creating an environment where employees feel valued and respected.
Right. It's about leading by example.
Absolutely.
And demonstrating a commitment to shared goals.
Rainer shares a quote from Warren Bennis
Oh, okay.
that perfectly encapsulates this shift in leadership thinking.
What is it?
Hierarchy is an organization for distrust.
Wow.
That's powerful.
It challenges us to rethink the traditional hierarchical structures that dominate many organizations.
Right.
It's about exploring more agile and collaborative approaches that foster trust, transparency, and shared decision-making.
Now, let's connect this back to your own workplace.
Okay.
Do you feel like your organization embraces a hierarchical leadership style?
Right.
Or is there a culture of empowerment and shared decision-making? Think about the leaders you admire.
Okay.
What qualities do they embody that make them effective and inspiring?
It's an invitation to reflect on the leadership dynamics within your own organization.
Yeah.
And to consider how a more collaborative and distributed approach to leadership could benefit both employees and the organization as a whole. Rainer also highlights the importance of storytelling in leadership communication.
Storytelling.
Yeah.
Okay.
He argues that stories are more engaging and memorable than facts and figures alone.
They are.
They create an emotional connection,
Yeah.
make information more relatable, and inspire action.
It's about moving beyond the traditional corporate jargon.
Yeah.
And connecting with employees on a human level.
Right.
It's about using stories to convey values, share experiences, and inspire change.
Rainer shares some personal anecdotes to illustrate this point, recounting his experiences with the ESN and his running streak in a way that is both informative and engaging.
It's a reminder that effective communication is about more than just conveying information. It's about connecting with your audience and making your message resonate. Think about the leaders you admire. Do they use storytelling to connect with their audience and inspire action? What makes their communication style so compelling?
It's a good question.
It is.
He even delves into the structure of storytelling.
Okay.
Referencing the hero's journey framework as a guide for crafting compelling narratives.
That's fascinating.
Is.
It's an exploration of the underlying principles of storytelling. And how we can apply them to enhance our communication skills.
Exactly.
It's a reminder that stories have the power to move us. To inspire us. And to change the way we see the world.
Now, one of the most surprising and insightful aspects of RainerRuns is Rainer's exploration of democracy and its application within an organization.
Democracy.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It is. It's a fascinating connection.
It is.
That challenges us to think about the principles of democratic governance. And how they can be applied to create a more inclusive and empowering work environment.
So Rainer draws a parallel between the democratic principles of free speech, transparency, and shared decision-making. And the culture he was trying to foster with the ESN. It's about recognizing that employees, like citizens in a democracy, have a voice and should be empowered to participate in decisions that affect them.
He even hosted a democracy dinner with colleagues.
A democracy dinner.
To discuss the relevance of democratic principles in the workplace.
That's fantastic.
It is.
It's an example of how Rainer's ESN journey extended beyond the digital realm and sparked real-world conversations about important societal values. It makes you wonder, listener, how can we apply these principles to create more democratic and engaging workplaces? What would it look like to have more transparency, more shared decision-making, and more opportunities for employees to voice their opinions and contribute their ideas?
It's a great question.
It is.
Rainer also delves into the concept of useful illegality,
Useful illegality.
arguing that there are often informal practices within organizations
Right.
that, while technically against the rules,
Okay.
can actually be beneficial for achieving goals and bypassing bureaucratic hurdles.
So it's a fascinating perspective.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
That challenges us to question the rigidity of rules and regulations.
Right.
And to recognize that there can be value in flexibility and adaptability.
He highlights the importance of finding a balance between adhering to rules
Right.
and allowing for some degree of useful illegality to promote innovation and agility.
It's a nuanced approach
Yeah.
that recognizes the need for both structure and flexibility within an organization.
Right.
Think about your own workplace, listener. Are there any useful illegalities that are tacitly accepted or even encouraged? How do these practices contribute to the overall effectiveness of the organization?
Yeah, it's a good question.
Absolutely.
It's important to note
Yeah.
that useful illegality should never be used to justify unethical or harmful behavior.
Of course not.
Right. It's about finding ways to work smarter, not to cut corners or break the law.
Exactly.
It's an invitation to reflect on the unwritten rules
Right.
and informal practices that shape the culture of our organizations.
Yeah.
Now, Rainer's ESN journey also led him to reflect on the importance of fostering a culture of trust and psychological safety within an organization.
Trust and psychological safety.
Yeah.
Okay.
He argues that trust is essential for collaboration,
Right.
innovation, and employee well-being.
Absolutely.
He highlights the role of the ESN in fostering trust by providing a platform for open communication,
Okay.
transparency, and shared decision-making.
It's about creating a space where employees feel comfortable sharing their ideas, asking questions, and offering feedback without fear of judgment or reprisal.
Right. So psychological safety
Right.
is the belief that you won't be punished or humiliated for speaking up with ideas, questions, concerns, or mistakes.
Exactly.
He encourages leaders to model trustworthiness
Right.
by being transparent in their communication,
Right.
following through on their commitments,
Right.
and acknowledging their own mistakes.
It's about creating a culture where trust is not just an expectation, but a lived experience.
Do you feel like you work in an environment where trust and psychological safety are valued? How does this impact your ability to collaborate, innovate, and contribute your best work?
Those are important things to think about.
They are.
For sure.
Now, Rainer's ESN journey also led him to reflect on the changing nature of leadership in a digital age.
Okay.
He argues that traditional top-down leadership styles are becoming increasingly ineffective
Right.
in a world where information flows freely
Yeah.
and employees are more empowered than ever.
It's about recognizing the need for a more collaborative and distributed approach to leadership.
Right.
One that empowers employees at all levels to contribute their ideas and take ownership of their work.
Right.
In today's rapidly changing world, leaders need to be adaptable, agile, and empowering.
He highlights the importance of qualities like transparency, authenticity, and empathy in modern leadership.
It's about building trust and connection,
Yeah.
creating an environment where employees feel valued and respected.
It's about leading by example and demonstrating a commitment to shared goals.
He also encourages leaders to embrace technology as a tool for communication, collaboration, and empowerment.
It's about using technology to connect with employees, share information, and facilitate dialogue,
Right.
rather than using it to control or monitor them.
Exactly. Technology can be a powerful tool for enabling collaboration, communication, and innovation.
Yeah.
But it's important to use it in a way that empowers employees and fosters a culture of trust and transparency.
Couldn't agree more.
Now, let's connect this back to your own workplace.
Okay.
Do you feel like your organization embraces a modern approach to leadership? Are leaders transparent, authentic, and empathetic? Do they use technology to empower employees? What steps could your organization take to adopt a more modern and empowering approach to leadership?
Those are all great questions to reflect on.
Absolutely.
It's an invitation to reflect on the leadership dynamics within our own organizations.
And to consider how a more collaborative and empowering approach to leadership could benefit both employees and the organization as a whole.
Now, Rainer's ESN journey also led him to reflect on the importance of personal well-being and self-care.
Personal well-being and self.
Yeah.
Okay.
He acknowledges that we live in a world of constant demands and distractions,
We do.
and that it can be challenging to prioritize our own well-being.
It can be.
He shares his own strategies for maintaining well-being,
Like what?
such as prioritizing sleep, exercise, and healthy eating,
Okay.
as well as making time for hobbies and activities that bring him joy.
It's a reminder that self-care is not a luxury.
It's not.
It's an essential part of living a healthy and productive life.
Right.
It's about recognizing that we can't pour from an empty cup.
Right.
And that we need to take care of ourselves in order to show up as our best selves for others.
He also encourages readers to be mindful of their own well-being,
Okay.
to set boundaries, and to prioritize activities that recharge their batteries and prevent burnout.
So it's about finding a rhythm that works for you
Right.
and being willing to adjust it as needed to maintain a healthy and sustainable balance in life.
What are some of your self-care practices, listener?
Yeah.
How do you prioritize your well-being amidst the demands of work and life?
That's something for everyone to think about.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Now, one of the most inspiring aspects of Rainer's story is his emphasis on the importance of pursuing our passions.
Our passions.
Yeah.
Okay.
He argues that we should all strive to find work that we are passionate about, work that gives us a sense of purpose and fulfillment.
It's a reminder that work should not be a chore.
It shouldn't be.
It should be an opportunity to pursue our interests,
Yeah.
develop our skills, and make a positive impact on the world.
Think about the things that light you up, listener.
Yeah.
What are you passionate about? Are you finding ways to incorporate those passions into your work or your life outside of work?
Good question.
He encourages readers to identify their own passions and to find ways to incorporate them into their life,
Right.
whether through their work, hobbies, or volunteer activities.
It's about recognizing that passion is a powerful force that can drive creativity, innovation, and personal fulfillment.
Now, Rainer's ESN journey also led him to reflect on the importance of building a legacy.
A legacy.
Yeah.
Okay.
He argues that we should all strive to leave a positive impact on the world
Right.
and to make a difference that will outlast our own time on this planet.
That's a big goal.
It is. It is.
Wow.
He shares his own hopes for the ESN project,
Okay.
expressing his desire for it to continue to connect people, foster collaboration, and drive innovation within the organization.
It's a reminder that we are all part of something larger than ourselves,
Yeah.
and that our actions can have a ripple effect that extends far beyond our immediate sphere of influence.
He encourages readers to think about their own legacy and to consider how they can make a positive impact on the world around them.
It's about recognizing that we all have the power to make a difference,
Yeah.
however small,
Right.
and that our contributions can have a lasting impact on the lives of others.
What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind, listener?
That's a question worth pondering.
It's a powerful thought.
It is.
What mark do we want to leave on the world?
Right.
What will people remember us for?
Exactly.
Rainer's ESN journey also led him to reflect on the importance of embracing change and adapting to new realities.
Embracing change, yeah. I mean, he brings up how the world is in constant flux, right? To thrive, we need to be adaptable and open to new ideas and approaches.
Yeah, he shares stories about navigating new technologies,
Right.
new ways of working,
Yeah.
and unexpected challenges.
Right. It reminded me of how frustrating it can be to cling to the old ways when everything around us is shifting.
Exactly.
Resistance to change can really hold us back from growth and progress,
Yeah,
both individually and as organizations.
right.
Rainer encourages readers to see change not as a threat,
Right.
but as an opportunity for growth,
Yeah,
to stay curious
yeah.
and develop that flexible mindset.
Thinking about you, the listener, how do you handle change in your own life? Are you the type who dives in head first? Or do you prefer a more cautious approach? There's no right or wrong answer.
No.
It's about self-awareness.
Exactly. Recognizing how we naturally react to change helps us navigate it more effectively.
Right. Now, Rainer's reflections on living in the present moment really struck a chord with me.
Yeah, me too. It's so easy to get caught up in anxieties about the future
Right.
or dwell on the past.
Exactly.
But Rainer found that true happiness and fulfillment
Yeah.
come from being present and engaged in the here and now.
And he talks about experiencing this through running,
Right.
connecting with nature,
Yeah.
appreciating those small, everyday moments of beauty and connection.
Absolutely.
He even had this funny story about getting so absorbed in watching a football game on TV
Okay.
that he completely forgot to eat his dinner,
Oh,
which was sitting right there on the table. It's a lighthearted example of how easily we can get distracted and miss out on the present moment.
it's a relatable experience for many of us.
Yeah.
Right? It highlights the importance of mindfulness,
Right.
of consciously choosing to be present and engaged in the here and now.
Have you ever had an experience like that, listener, where you were so caught up in your thoughts or distractions that you completely missed out on what was happening right in front of you?
Yeah. It's a good reminder to slow down, breathe, and appreciate the little things.
Exactly. Now, shifting gears a bit, Rainer's ESN journey also led him to reflect on the importance of finding joy and meaning in our work.
Finding joy and meaning in our work.
Yeah. He argues that work shouldn't just be a paycheck.
Right.
It should be an opportunity to pursue our passions, develop our skills, and make a positive impact.
He seemed to genuinely find fulfillment in his ESN work, right? He talks about the satisfaction of connecting people,
Right.
fostering collaboration,
Right.
and witnessing how the platform positively impacted the organization.
It's inspiring to see someone so engaged with their work.
It is. It reminds us that we spend a significant portion of our lives working, so it's worth putting in the effort to find work that aligns with our values and brings us joy.
Thinking about you, listener, what brings you joy in your work? What aspects of your job make you feel energized and fulfilled? If you're not feeling that spark, it might be worth exploring what changes you could make to align your work with your passions and values.
Yeah, it could be as simple as taking on a new project,
Right.
seeking out a mentor,
Yeah.
or even just shifting your perspective on your current role.
Now, as we wrap up this deep dive into RainerRuns,
Okay.
let's zoom out and consider some key takeaways that you can apply to your own life, both personally and professionally.
One of the biggest takeaways for me is the power of individual initiative.
Yeah.
Rainer's story shows that one person,
Yeah.
driven by passion and a clear vision,
Right.
can make a significant impact.
Absolutely.
You don't have to wait for permission
Right.
or a perfect plan.
Start small, experiment, build momentum over time.
Just like Rainer's daily runs.
Exactly.
Consistency and dedication can lead to amazing results.
Absolutely. Another important lesson is the power of building a strong network of support,
Yeah.
both within and outside your organization.
Surrounding yourself with people who share your values challenge you to grow.
Right.
And provide encouragement can make all the difference.
And finally, Rainer's journey is a testament to the power of perseverance and resilience.
It is.
Setbacks are inevitable,
They are.
but it's our response to those challenges that defines our success.
Embrace a growth mindset.
Absolutely.
Learn from your mistakes.
Right.
And never give up on your goals.
And remember, listener, you have a power to make a difference, however small. Embrace change, cultivate meaningful connections, and never stop pursuing your passions.
That's a fantastic note to end on.
It is.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into RainerRuns.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope you found it insightful and inspiring.
Now, go out there and make your own unique mark on the world.